Okay, today I wanted to discuss the Kabar. Get some of this out of the way first. Already the knife's in use here. I wanted to discuss the Kabar dog's head. Now, some people say that, oh, it's not a Bowie knife because it's only 7 inches. You know, a Bowie knife's got to be at least 8 or 9 or whatever this is. And that simply is not true because in the years past, many years ago, there was what was called vest pocket Bowies, which could be 5-inch blades or 6-inch blades. We also have the MacV Sog Bowie, which is a 6 or 6.5-inch blade. The Kabar USMC, or the dog's head, which is what this is a Bowie style blade, right? It is the clip point. It is also like saying a butcher knife has to be over 7 or 8 inches. Well, that simply isn't true either, because Dexter Russell and many other companies have 4 and 5, 4.5 inch, whatever, butcher knives. So a lot of it is the style of the knife, the blade shape. Okay, now this is a 7-inch blade, or maybe a little over. I'm not quite sure. We got a good stout knife here, right? Stacked leather handle. A lot of people do not speak highly of this knife because of the stick tang, the hidden tang. And they say it's weak and it bends. Well, that's exactly what it was designed to do back during World War II. This knife could be run over with a Jeep, so to speak, and be bent, and could be bent back and still be serviceable, as opposed to snapping somewhere in here and not having a knife that's serviceable at all. So we also have to use judgment with these things, right, folks? I mean, let's face it, any woodsman worth their salt has a tool set, right? Horace Kephart, Nesmith, all these guys had other tools, okay? I mean, I would have this, a jackknife, a hatchet, right? A folding saw, buck saw, whatever it is. The current market for the knives today seems to weigh heavily on these robust knives that are so overly built that they don't really seem to function that well for a lot of things. I like a knife to be able to slice things. And that's the primary function for a belt knife for me, is to slice things and cut things. The obsession with splitting a bunch of wood constantly with a belt knife, not really my thing. However, I have batoned some wood with this knife, but it's for maybe some smaller things. Maybe I wanted to split, take a few pieces down like this just to make some feather sticks. Now, in the proverbial survival situation that everyone speaks of, right? This ridiculousness of the one tool option, and for some reason you've got to split down 5-inch rounds of hardwood. This will do it. And how this will do it is wedges. Now, in a proverbial situation, as I'm speaking of here, the survival situation, whether this was full tang or not, I would advise making wedges, as to not jeopardize the integrity of the only cutting tool you have. I know that recently the Kabar Slabby has come out, and a lot of people, really seem to like that and enjoy that. I haven't gotten a chance to get my hands on one. I've heard some less than stellar sort of reviews on them with rattling guards and such, and the sort of high price point for what it is. I have a Kabar BK7 that I think will do the job just fine. So I wanted to put this in the Bowie knives for the Woodsman, because it is a popular knife, and it is a popular knife with many of our veterans and the likes. And many people have relied heavily on this blade. Now, Ontario and Case, they have their own versions as well. but this knife was primarily born out of World War II. You see we have a fuller here. Once again, this could open up a whole nother can of worms, right? Same with the other thing with the one tool option and then batoning and the hidden tang. Generally, a forged fuller will add some structural integrity. This is milled out of the 1095 Crovan. Okay, the spine on this is sharp enough out of the box. As you can see, I stripped this to throw sparks with a ferrocerium rod. Also, it being 1095, it will throw a spark with a piece of flint into your charred material. Excellent, excellent survival knife, in my opinion. Okay, once again, all these things are my opinion. Now, I tend to like to to do sort of a, something slightly different when I have these larger knives, right? Now you can do this, and you can get your shavings like that, right? And it's doable. It is doable. It's not an issue at all. One of the other methods that I really like to do, some people will put their knee up there and do that. Some people stab it into something and do that. I like to stand a lot of times for certain things, especially the climate I live in and the wetness and the wind and the cold and different things like that. A lot of times I would rather just stand and do feather sticks. So this is a preferred method, whether moving the knife down the piece of wood or holding it close and drawing it, right? Well, this is another take on that I really enjoy, and it's just bracing the knife like this, and I have videos of doing this with axes as well, and some other knives in the Bowie knives for Woodsman series. I like to do this, okay, and I can draw some really nice feathers with it. Now this knife is sort of thick behind the edge, it being that sort of mid-height saber grind. Its intended purpose is obviously some serious combat applications. And that's sort of why I find it a little bit comical that the modern day people don't deem this knife to be sturdy enough for their, weekend car camping or backyard survival outings with their fire pit and their, all their split wood. Any knife can be broken. Some easier than others. As I said, I've used this knife, and have done some splitting with it. I don't rely on splitting for, firewood. On occasion, on very cold nights and I want some brightness, I may split some pieces just to throw on the fire. But in general, we got a bit of a knot there. In general, it's not really necessary. And if you spend enough time out in the woods, you'll get over the split firewood very easily. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of other things to be done at camp rather than split a bunch of firewood. Now, if you have a wood stove in a cabin or anything like that, I would recommend another tool. And remember, if you're breaking this knife, there's a lot of other knives you would probably be breaking as well. Bowie knives for the Woodsman, this series is sort of predicated on, obviously, what a woodsman could carry. A lot of people in the modern day here feel that the only thing that a bushcrafter or a woodsman, could be carrying is something with a Scandinavian grind or something that's, less than 4.5 inches. This is nice to carry because it's not too large, it's not too small. I can still tension cut with this. I can do things easier with this than, say, a smaller knife. Also, as I stated earlier, with the any woodsman worth their salt has more than one tool, I have a Stockman. And this takes the brunt of a lot of work. I appreciate a knife that can cover a lot, right? Some utility. Utility is important, to me at least. And as I said, I'm not creating a video and talking to ruffle any feathers, right? Because this is all my opinion. Someone else may hate this knife. Someone else may love this knife. So you get the point of this here. We could keep going on this all day. But I would say in general, this knife has passed the test on, can I get feather sticks for a fire? And the answer is yes. And this is some seasoned ash. So it's a decently hard wood. So this will for sure work on, poplars and things like that, which if I have to make a series of feather sticks, that's the type of wood I probably would be looking for to do it. It's easier to do. It's easier on the hand. There are some variations between this and the USMC, being the pommel and the guard. Made out of Olean, New York. Kabar. Great stuff. Great stuff here. It served the World War II generation just fine. Many of them after the war had used these on the homestead, had used these for hunting on the farm, and many as well in Vietnam, and all after that. Our veterans have been using these for a long time, and civilians alike. And this is usually more of the typical civilian version. It doesn't have any military insignia or isn't, relegated to any branch of the service. So stay tuned. We'll have a little bit more on this excellent, excellent Kabar dog's head knife. Bowies for the Woodsman.